Welcome to the video, arm wrestling fans. Today's guest is, for the second time, Chan Shaw, still from Sweden, right?
Yep, still here.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on again, Pradeep.
So mostly in this video, in this short interview, we will be talking about your upcoming match against Sandris Sedis on February 12th. So only 2.5 days remaining. And then we are going to talk about a particular topic that I'm interested in. It is about rules, whether you like loose rules or strict rules. And then hopefully Chan Shaw will answer a couple of accusations that have been thrown at him since the last time we talked about arm wrestling. Not particularly from that interview, but in general.
Nothing new. New accusations every day.
Yeah,
it's part of the life.
So let's start with your match against Sandris Sedis. First of all, where can we watch this match?
Yeah, it's streamed through Core Sports. So I think the link is app.coresports.tv. You just go there, you sign up, create your account. It's like $12 for 17 matches or something crazy like that. So definitely head on over there if you haven't got it already and get signed up and buy the pay-per-view.
So Sandris is 110 kg WAF champion, right-handed from 2021, and he's from Latvia. By any chance,
I think he's the European champion. He took third
European champion, yeah.
And WAF.
My bad. Second,
no problem.
Second in worlds and first
on
in
the
European.
Left. Second left and third right.
Third right.
Yep.
So by any chance, did you get to find any common opponent that both of you guys have faced?
So not quite, unfortunately, because I don't have much experience pulling a ton of Europeans, and he has no experience pulling Americans from what I know. Dallas Langston got to train with him a little when they were at Iron House, but obviously I can't get too much information out of that. It's just after pulling. My training partner has pulled someone that he has pulled recently. That's the closest connection. It's not a direct connection, but at least it gives me something. My training partner, Emil, has pulled with Saulius, the Lithuanian champion, because he lives in Sweden part-time. And Saulius just beat Sandris recently. So it gives me a little bit of data.
Okay. And since we mentioned like practice pulling and looking into matches or common opponents, I have one like problem with people saying that practice pulling means zero. It never means zero. Like if two guys have never faced each other and suddenly a match is set up, no matter how elite that guy is, he will try to look for even practice pulls between common opponents. It is not like it is a practice pull I'm not going to look at. Every elite puller, in my opinion, does that. Even if they find practice pull, they watch it for analyzing the match. So practice pulls does matter if you know the background of that training session, like who was tired and who was not.
I would say it matters to know the style of arm wrestling that your opponent is going to do. So if you can study them in practice, you can kind of get a feel for where they might be stronger or weaker. I don't think necessarily getting pinned in practice by someone else equates to you'll get pinned by them in a different situation. But I agree, you can always learn information from practice pulls.
Yeah, this is what I've been thinking. Like if two guys have similar style, both hook pullers, and in a practice pull, we know that both are fresh and one is absolutely stonewalling the other guy. The guy who's weaker may not be well prepped, but if the match is 2 months or 1 month from now, I don't know how much that guy can improve. So this is like when analyzing the Denis Siplenkov versus Devon Lett match, I was like very, very beginning stage in arm wrestling at that time, 2018. And I just watched Oleg Zok's match against both of them. And Devon Lett had wars with Oleg. And when Denis Siplenkov was arm wrestling him, Oleg tried to hit and nothing moved. His arm just got buried under Denis Siplenkov's arm.
Right.
So that was more than enough to tell me. And even though those matches were not during the same period, a couple of years gap, I think, but still that was more than enough to tell that there is a strength gap.
Yeah, you can piece information together, right? It's not the best data. It'd be better if they competed against each other around the same time period, close. But you take what you can get, right? When you're studying for a match or you're analyzing and predicting, you have to take what you can get. And sometimes practice pulls is the best information that you have.
Yeah. So about your match, like, did you change anything in your training program, or in your diet? Like, how confident are you that you're going to beat Sandris? Because like everyone is saying, you are a heavy underdog against him as well, just like against Tardachings.
Yeah. So first part of the question, have I changed anything? As far as training and diet goes, I have changed both drastically. In the past, as you might imagine from my chiseled structure, I just eat whatever I feel like eating, ice cream and junk food and McDonald's and pizza. And I've cut just about all of that out. I'll say I'm 95% eating clean and 5, maybe 10% eating junk food. So my diet has cleaned up quite a lot, and my training has as well. I've never been fully committed. I've talked about this a couple times, but as most people know now, I quit my full-time job and I moved to Sweden to focus on training. So my training has been consistent, which is a change. And also more recently, I'm not sure how much impact it's going to have, but I've been running Brandon Allen's strength training program. That's only 3 or 4 weeks. I don't really believe that you can get much stronger in 3 or 4 weeks, but my muscles are at least conditioned. In the past, they haven't been. So I think that is going to bring some benefit to the table. As far as how confident I am, well, I am extremely confident that I'm not going to get 3-0'd. So I'll start with that. The State Kings right now, it's a shutout. So if I win one round, the people that staked on me get their money. I'm like very confident in that. As far as winning, I have to back myself. Of course, if you don't back yourself, what are you doing? Sandris is a very smart puller. He's very fast. He can go inside, outside, press. He's very versatile, and he makes his transitions very well. So I understand that he's a threat and should be the favorite, but I have not set everything in my life to the side to lose. Like I am the most focused on this match that I've been for any match in the past, and I've had the most prep time. So I'm feeling really, really confident to win, but I'm definitely not getting 3-0'd.
So since you were mentioning the shutout stakes, one thing came to my mind. I got a couple of comments that Chan Shaw picks his opponents that are desirable for him. And right now, when I'm thinking of it, in next 60-70 days, you're having 2 matches and both of them are shutouts against you. So you are choosing difficult opponents in that match.
Yeah, people like to say I pick easy opponents and then I pick hard opponents. And then once I pick hard opponents, they say, oh, he's only picking people like that are 2 above him and they shouldn't even pull him. It's like, come on, what do you want? Do you want me to pull easy guys or hard guys? At the end of the day, I'm going to pull whoever I feel like pulling, and people can watch or they won't watch.
So how do you see this match going? Like, obviously, Ryan Bowen has told us multiple times. John Brazing told us that it is almost impossible to hook Chan Shaw. So do you see it going Toproll versus Toproll, just like John Brazing, side pressure battle, who has more?
I think Sandris is coming in a little overconfident. And I think that he's going to test the waters inside, and I think it's going to go very poorly for him. I don't really get hooked. I'm very good at countering a hook. Am I saying that I can beat all hook pullers? No. But I'm saying it's really, really hard to hook me, like Mike Aiello or John Brazing or Ryan Bowen or whoever you want to use for an example. You just don't go there with me. If he tests that, it's going to go very poorly. If he goes to a Toproll, which I suspect will probably be his round 1 move, it's going to slip. We're going to get in the straps. And I think it could be a little interesting. I don't typically get overwhelmed at the top. The only person to really overwhelm me in recent times has been Dave Chafee. And I don't think Sandris is any Dave Chafee. So I kind of have a level of understanding of the power potential above me, but I just don't think Sandris is going to have enough to put me in a bad position round 1 in the Toproll. I think that it'll go well.
When I was thinking about that match, one thought came to my mind that this is going to get stuck somewhere in between, like you versus John Brazing match, and one guy is trying to go sideways and the other's arm will not move, and I do not know who is going to be who. Yeah, but I can see this match going that way. And another question, we saw that you had some troubles pulling against Wayne Withers, and Wayne Withers even said that Chan Shaw is a low hand top roller, and low hand top roll doesn't work against me. I know Sandris is nowhere near as tall as Wayne Withers. Wayne Withers is like 6'6", 6'7" maybe, but Sandris is also a little bit taller than you. So are taller guys your weakness?
6'4" maybe. I wouldn't say so. No, as a super heavyweight, I'm 6 foot tall, so I'm not short, but I'm definitely not tall for supers. I'm used to pulling people that are 6'4", 6'5". That's not out of the ordinary, and I think Sandris is about 6'4". I think Mike Aiello's 6'4", 6'5", somewhere around there.
Yeah, 6'5".
So, you know, I'm comfortable pulling people like that. I really like that people don't watch my matches close enough to, and everyone thinks that I'm still just a low hand top roller pulling like this, because you pull a low hand top roller a certain way to beat them, and you pull other top rollers a different way to beat them. So if you try to attack me as if I'm a low hand top roller, it's not going to be a good day for you. That weakness was exposed to me by Ryan Bowen 2 years ago, and I have fixed it. So as far as Wayne Withers goes, I pulled him once and he pinned me, but it was towards the end of a tournament. I'm not going to say that Wayne wasn't the better guy that day, but the only reason that I was there to pull anyone was because Dave Chafee was there, and I asked for him first round. I wasn't really too concerned with anything else there. So I'm not sure if there's enough data with Wayne to say anything, but you know, I will say a 6'8" top roller is a weakness of mine. When your lever is so long, like, it's, without sounding delusional, I would rather pull Levon than Vitali just because of the lever. I'm not saying I can beat either of them. Just stylistically, it's a harder match. But Sandris 6'4", not quite enough to be the difference, I think.
Yeah. And since you mentioned the Ryan Bowen match, people still are comparing that match, which is totally unfair. Like, you were 20 or maybe 21 years old at that time, and maybe 250, 60 pounds.
Yeah, I was 21. I want to say I was about 250. I probably have messages with Ryan and I could pull it up, but I don't exactly know. I want to say I was around 240, 250.
So you were
now I'm 310.
250 and 21. 21 is the main thing. You have gotten from 21 to 23. Even if you didn't change anything in your training, your diet, and didn't work 1% harder than before, still you'd gain a lot in these 2.5 years. So that comparison is totally impractical, in my opinion. So Chance, let's move on to the next topic. A couple of accusations on you in this past week. And number one, I got a comment from Mr. Scott. So he's basically saying that you were totally okay when Derek Smith was not pulling guys below him, but you were pissed off when Jerry Cadret denied to pull you because you are lower than him.
Okay, so number one, I'll start with, I think that every individual should be able to decide their own arm wrestling matches. So I'll start with that. So if Jerry doesn't want to pull me, fine. If Derek doesn't want to pull Corey, fine. Like, it's up to Derek, or it's up to Jerry. That being said, Jerry has said that he will pull me for enough money. We've had a conversation. We've had a lot of conversations since April of last year, because that's when we had our practice pulls. And we had talked, and we both were in for a match. It just had to be the right amount of money at the right time. So he said, I'll pull you for X amount of dollars, and it can't be when my son is playing football, because his son is really good in high school football. So no problem. I understand, family first. And so I have a promoter that is reaching out to him, calling him all the time. And Jerry is, oh, I'll call you back. Oh, this, oh, that. This has been going on for months. So Jerry to the public is saying, guys, I will pull Chance for money. I'll crush him. But in private is not taking the opportunity that's presented. So it's one thing if Jerry just said, no, I don't want to pull Chance, then okay, we can move on. But Jerry is saying he will pull me and he'll beat me for money, but he's not taking the money. So that's just where things get a little confusing. It's not that I'm upset that Jerry won't pull me in general. It's just that he's not standing behind his word, if you will. As far as Jerry being ahead of me, it's like, probably he should be. Like, in my personal rank, I would probably have him around rank 4, but he could be as low as like 20. I don't know. We haven't seen the guy pull since Ryan Espy, I think October of 19 and WAL.
Todd Hutchings.
Todd Hutchings was after Espy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way,
Same year,
it's
2019.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So we don't have enough new data. A lot happens over the course of a few years. So what are you going to do?
So I don't want you to reveal any new fact or new numbers here. If you have already publicly announced that how much money was being offered to Jerry, can you tell us if that has been already publicly announced?
I don't think it has been publicly announced,
Then
I
I
know
don't
the
think we need to know that.
I know that the promoter that I talked to said that he was going to offer a certain amount to Jerry, but the promoter hasn't been public with the match either because Jerry hasn't accepted anything. So I don't know if I should say, but it's thousands of dollars. It's not like $1,000 or something. Like I'm not offering, the promoter, I should say, is not offering chump change.
Okay. So second accusation, I was watching Ryan SP's live stream. It was uploaded a couple of days ago. And he was saying that Chance was not pulling Derek Smith and Corey West for some reasons of his own. Maybe they are new upcoming arm wrestlers. Maybe Derek was lower than him in ranks. But now he's ready to pull BLM, which is your next match after Todd Hutchings. And he said that, is it about not pulling new upcoming or lower rank guys, or is it not pulling the guys who think who might beat you? So this was
Okay,
his accusation.
so he's saying I won't pull Derek and Corey
Because
because
they may
they
beat
can
you.
beat. Okay, but I'm pulling Sandris and Todd Hutchings, who are clearly the favorites, right? Like for someone to say that I picked Todd Hutchings because Todd Hutchings is an easier match than Derek or Corey. Derek and Corey have never beat Todd Hutchings. Corey has 2 pins on him, of course, but Corey just lost recently to him. So I'm picking hard opponents, right? As far as Brendan, the match with Brendan goes, I didn't necessarily want to pull Brendan. I'm not saying I didn't want to pull him, but he was never someone that has really been on my radar because he's always been in a lower weight class. He pulled 220s and I guess he's pulling 240s now. But when a promoter reaches out and offers me X amount of dollars to pull a super match at his event, then I will take it. We've talked. I'm a full-time arm wrestler, so I have to choose the matches that make the most sense for me. And a lot of times that's going to be monetarily. It's not always going to be about jumping rankings or pulling someone lower or higher or harder or easier. Sometimes it's just about the pay opportunity is too good to turn down. That being said, I'm not saying that Brendan is a bum or anything like that. I think that he's a very good arm wrestler. He is up and coming. He's improving. We haven't seen much from him as of recent because Canada's been shut down. So it's hard to know how much he's progressed or declined. I'm not sure if you know the match he had with Dallas Langston. I think that was his last big match where Dallas was up 2-0 and then Brendan had a foul and then the tent fell over and then they forgot about the foul. It was a whole thing. Dallas ended up winning 3-0, but it kind of lost 3-2, however you look at it. So we kind of know what level Brendan was at, but we don't know where he is at. So he may very well be good enough to beat me. I don't know. But again, at the end of the day, I didn't pick the match. I accepted the match because the compensation was worth my time.
Okay. I think
and I also have a left-handed match that day.
Against?
I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's a mid-level pro from what I was told, which is kind of where I would put myself left-handed.
Okay, that makes sense. But I think what Ryan SP was saying, maybe it was about age because BLM is also a young guy. And earlier you were not facing Corey and Derek Smith because all three of you kind of wanted to rise together.
Yeah.
Then
again, I think Brendan is in a lower weight class, so I haven't really been too concerned with pulling guys in lower weight classes. So when you talk about the super heavyweights of the future in North America, typically in most people's head, it's Derek Corey or Corey Derek and then me third, right? We don't talk about Brendan, and that's not because he's not a great talent, but that's because he's not really a super heavyweight. So I'm not too concerned with pulling. It's not about age. It's just about the future of North American arm wrestling and the super heavyweights. Derek is isn't he like 34 or something?
Derek Smith, 35, I think.
Yeah, so Derek's over a decade older than me. So it's not quite about age necessarily either.
Okay. So my final question to you, Chance, why do arm wrestlers and arm wrestling fans like to have the fouls ignored in their arm wrestling matches and in their promotions? Like what other sport does that? And do you know any other sport where athletes are saying that fouls should not be called?
No, but I think arm wrestling is it's a difficult sport to address when it comes to fouls. Like In football or basketball or baseball or soccer, you're not necessarily losing the entire match because you got a foul. The foul may end up causing you to lose in the long run, but you didn't directly lose because of the foul. Arm wrestling is the only sport that I know of where a small foul can end up in a loss of an entire match. So it's a little bit different, right? The fans want to see good matches. So I would say something like MMA, but I'm not familiar enough with the rule set there. But if every time an MMA fighter got a penalty or a foul, something that deducts points, if instead they were losing the matches, I think that the fans would be pretty upset. So from a production standpoint, if you don't call the minor fouls, it is more appealing to the viewers and sometimes to the athletes. It just depends what rule set the athlete is comfortable with. So I think that we started ignoring fouls because the WAO came in. They want the good production. They're looking at maybe other sports and saying, well, you can't lose in another sport because you were offsides, right? You get a small penalty. It's the same thing with an elbow foul. If my elbow just barely pops up and you can barely fit a hair under it and I lost the match over it, that's not entertaining to the fans. And it's kind of hard to understand as well, in my opinion.
Have you ever arm wrestled on the WL pads? My question has always been, before we start ignoring elbow fouls, small elbow fouls, why don't we start utilizing those slightly curved and squishy WL pads? Because that, I believe, I've never arm wrestled on such pads, but I can think that those pads might eliminate some small fouls. It would be difficult for elbow to pop up.
Yeah, I haven't ever arm wrestled on the 7x9 pads, but I have arm wrestled on plenty of squishy pads. And I do agree. The squishier pad, you can get away with the tiny little fouls because the pad is moving with you. Now, of course, if you still have a big hop or something, it's very obvious and it should still be called regardless of the rule set. But the tiny fouls is boring. Use a squishy pad. I agree. That's a great idea. And then we can avoid that. I can't comment on the 7x9 personally because I don't think I've ever pulled on that though.
No, I was just talking about the material used in the pad,
right?
Not necessarily the size. So I think maybe you and I or some other crew will have a detailed discussion about this rules topic, because I really think about it a lot. So thanks for being here, Chance. Anything that you want to add before you? And when are you leaving, by the way? I asked you in the beginning, but I think I forgot.
Yeah, so I'm leaving tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow morning. So it's like 8 o'clock here or something. And then so I fly out at 10 tomorrow morning. So I'll be up at like 6 and drive to the airport. I'm actually riding with Tobias Sperone because he lives in the same city as me. So it kind of works out. Anything else to say? If you haven't bought the pay-per-view, coresports.tv, buy the pay-per-view, create an account, it's $12. You're getting a great value. So 16, 17 matches, do you know, Pradeep?
Yeah, 16 matches.
So 16 matches for $12. That's less than $1 per match. And all matches are insanely high level athletes. Most are world champions, national champions. It's like the greatest card of all time. Don't miss out on it. It's $12. The other thing, if you believe I'm going to get crushed, please go bet on Sandris because he can't close his blocks. And I have like a dozen people waiting to buy mine out. So if you think I'm going to get crushed, I think you're dumb, but go ahead and bet on Sandris, please, so we can close out some more blocks. Thank you.
And thanks, man. And the links will be in the description. Please subscribe to Chance Show's channel. Bye-bye, brother.
Thank you.